We're going to start Chapter 8 by reviewing some vocabulary that you learned in 6th grade, and that is a one-step equation. That's an equation that contains one operation. So in our example, we have x plus 7 is equal to 12. We have one operation in there, and that is adding. And then on the next example, it's y minus 15, which gives you 25, and the example operation is subtraction. So just a review of one-step equations containing addition and subtraction. So our goal in solving one-step equation is to get the variable by itself. So I'm going to circle the variable. Whatever's attached to it is what you're going to undo. So we're subtracting. So we're adding. So we're going to subtract both sides by negative 10. Number 1 says x plus 10 is equal to 33. We want to find out what the x is. So since it's addition, we're going to undo the operation by subtracting 10 on both sides. And that's both sides of the equal sign. So we are left with x is equal to 23. If we were to check our work, 23 we can place with the x's, add 10 to it, and we get 33. So it checks out because 23 plus 10 is 33. Number 2 is a subtraction problem. So we are going to add 20 to both sides. So we're left with x on the left because negative 20 plus 20. Because if you subtract 20 and add 20 to it, you get 0. And 14 plus 20 is 34. When we check our work, we substitute the 34 in for the x and we subtract. And when we do 34 minus 20, we get 14. 14 is equal to 14, so both sides are equal to each other. Number 3 says x plus a negative 5 is equal to 13. Our goal is we want to get the x by itself. Since we have a negative 5, we're going to add 5, because negative 5 plus a positive 5 gives you 0. We're going to add 5 to both sides. So now we're left with x is equal to 18. To check it, 18 plus 5, does that give you 13? To check it, we have 18 plus a negative 5 gives you 13. And if we do 18 plus a negative 5, that gives us 13. So our answer is check. Number 4 is x plus 10 is equal to 3. We're going to subtract 10 on both sides. So we're left with x equals, because then when we do 10 minus 10, we get 0. But this time we have 3 minus 13. So this brings it up to a little bit of 7th grade. If we have 3 minus 13, remember we can change subtraction to adding the opposite. Now it's take the sign of the larger number and subtract. So we get negative 10. So in number 4, we have x plus 10 is equal to 3. So we're going to subtract 10 on both sides. So the 10 minus 10 gives you x, but now we have 3 minus 10. Going back to what we learned in Chapter 2, if we have a smaller subtracting a larger, we can change it to adding the opposite. So now we take the sign of the larger number, so that's negative, and 10 minus 3 is 7. So x is equal to negative 7. Now check it. Negative 7 plus 10, does that give you 3? Well, we have to take the sign of the larger number, which is positive, and subtract, so 3 is equal to 3, so it checks. Number 5, x minus 21 equals negative 16. So now we're going to add 21 to both sides. Subtracting 21 and adding 21 gives you 0. Now on the right-hand side, we have negative 16 plus 21, so we have different signs. We're going to take the sign of the larger number, which is positive, and subtract. We get x is equal to 5. To check it, our 5 goes into x minus 21, and we want to get negative 16. Going back to if we have a subtraction, we can change it to add on the opposite. Then we take the sign of the larger and subtract, and both sides equal 16, so it checks. Number 6, x minus 12 is equal to negative 22. We're going to add 12 to both sides. Opposites cancel out, so we're left with x equals. And in negative 21 plus 12, we take the sign of the larger and subtract. So we get x is equal to negative 10. Check it. So negative 10 minus 12 to give you negative 22. In subtraction, we want to change it to adding the opposite. So now we have same signs, keep the sign and add. Both sides equal negative 22. So it checks out. In the next example, we have x minus a negative 12 is equal to 30. So just like we did back in chapter 2, if we have a subtracting a negative, change it right away to adding the opposite. Now we're really going to change it to subtract 12 on both sides of your equal sign. So 12 minus 12 gives you 0, so we're left with x. And then 13 minus 12 gives you 18. To check it, we take our 18 minus a negative 12 to give you 30. And again, to make it easier, we can change subtraction to add in the opposite. And 18 plus 12 gives you 30, so it checks out. Last example, x plus a negative 7 is equal to negative 11. Since it's a negative, let's add a positive to both sides of your equal sign. Negative 7 and positive 7 cancels out, so we're left with x equals. And on the right-hand side, we're going to take the sign of the larger number, which is negative, and subtract. We'll go and check it. So negative 4 plus a negative 7, does that give you negative 11? Okay, negative 4 plus a negative 7 is negative 11, so it checks out.